Hello, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching. Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Frankenstein, a character that has been in many, many movies. The story has been told many, many times. But how does this one rate? Interesting telling. Ultimately, I thought. Here to talk about it with me is my hair life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
It's always interesting to see how all the pieces come together, and that pun is completely intended.
Literally.
Yeah, so interesting movie and kind of interesting take on this. This I'm interested to talk about this one because it's had some a little more. Yeah, I'm trying not to with these puns. I was gonna say it's got a little more meat on the bones. So we'll we'll get there, and more puns I'm sure will follow. So.
Yeah, I'll let Jeremy handle the punnage to do
Yeah, I got you. I
the
got
pun
plenty.
to do the punishing. See, get that? Okay, that's the last pun I throw out there. I promise. I'm letting Jeremy do the rest.
Yeah, okay.
But
Uh-huh.
we are here, of course, to talk about Frankenstein. And which version of this Frankenstein are we doing today? This is the 2025 American Gothic drama film, produced, written, and directed by Guillermo del Toro, based on Mary Shelley's 1918 novel Frankenstein, also called The Modern Prometheus. The film stars Oscar Isaacs as Victor Frankenstein. Jacob Elordi is the creature. Mia Goth is Elizabeth, with Felix Kammerer. God, I knew I was going to mispronounce that name. David Bradley, Lars Mikkelsen, and Christian Coventry, along with Charles Dance and Christoph Waltz in supporting roles. The story follows the life of Victor Frankenstein, an egotistical scientist whose experiments in creating new life results in dangerous consequences. The film was a financial failure, pretty much, on a budget of 120 million, recouping only $313,000 due to Netflix giving it only a limited release. On Rotten Tomatoes, 85% of 287 critics' reviews are positive. The website's consensus review reads, quote, finding the humanity in one of cinema's most iconic monsters, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is a lavish epic that gets its most invigorating volts from Jacob Elordi's standout performance. And I think that's actually a pretty fair way to sum up the movie. And Jeremy, give me your quick thoughts.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that like I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that it's on Netflix already, which I don't know when the release date for this movie was. Um, if it was supposed to be like if it was like very recent, but excuse me. Yeah, it kind of sucks that it didn't do well financially. Because I was intrigued by this because I'm always intrigued by the retelling of some of these classic stories that we've had for. I mean, when was the original? Like in the was it earlier, like late 30s, maybe? With Boris Karloff.
Oh, yeah.
So you're getting up on the better part of 100 years of this being on film, at least. Well over 100 years in a novel form. So it's always cool to see someone else's take on it. So that sucks that it doesn't do well because I honestly I was very intrigued by just the names attached to this. Like, of course, Guillermo del Toro, Oscar Isaac, who you know, I still think is a good actor. I mean, as much as we're gonna give him crap for somehow Palpatine returned, that's not his fault. That's
Oh,
just a
yeah.
line he was told to read in Star Wars. But I mean, I think he's a phenomenal actor. I think he's successfully kind of broken away from just being Poe Dameron from the sequel Star Wars movies. So yeah, and of course Mia Goth, she fits into this wheelhouse. And also, I mean, I'm never gonna be mad about Christoph Waltz being in the movie. So I don't know. I don't know if it's had a theatrical release, but maybe that would have helped. At least I would have hoped so.
Yeah, it was released at the Venice Film Festival, I believe, on August 30th. It was released theatrically here in the United States October 17th, and on Netflix November 7th. So I
Okay.
I honestly think the reason that Netflix released it in theaters for a brief time is because that would make it eligible for awards like the Oscars.
Okay. But it also doesn't seem like there was a whole lot of advertising for it. Like I remember seeing it, but of course, people like you and me have our noses in the dirt with this kind of thing. So I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot even to people like you and me who probably saw this. I saw a couple trailers and I was really like, "Ooh, this seems cool. Like I would definitely watch this." But to the casual person, I don't think many people really had it on their radar.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it says it was released in selected theaters on October 17th, including select screenings on 35 millimeter and IMAX, a couple places in Mexico. But yeah, they didn't really push this a lot. I really do think that they only really put it out in theaters for a little while so that it could be eligible for the Oscars, which maybe in the future. I don't know. We can talk about whether they deserves one later. Uh, yeah, I thought overall it was a very interesting take. There's lots of different ways that they've tried to do a Frankenstein film and make it a little different. It's like you do like the I Frankenstein that came out a couple years ago. I wasn't a big fan. You could like the Boris Karloff take on it all. You've even had some kind of goofier representations of the character, things like Monster Squad and stuff like that, which is a movie I kind of want to. But yeah, it's interesting to not just tell the story of Frankenstein, the Frankenstein's monster, and Victor Frankenstein, who created him, but also to talk about his growth a little more, other than just that guy who walks around with the bolts in his neck, like, it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome to. I mean, I'll go into a little bit more when we talk about Guillermo del Toro here in a second, but it was an interesting enough, a fresh enough take on the story to make it interesting. And the story has got a few issues. Nothing big though. I think overall it's pretty good. Let's start with Guillermo del Toro, and I forgot if I have a picture of him here or not. I will try to find it. But give me your thoughts on Guillermo del Toro, not just as a director as a whole, but the job that he did in this film.
Yeah, this would be the kind of movie that I would expect him to make. With his name being attached to it, I was kind of like, okay, I trust this kind of thing in his hands. So it had, that the time period piece aspect to it, the visuals were very, very cool in this movie, and it had that tone throughout. It had this kind of like melancholic tone, which this story is kind of a tragedy, in its own respect. It's like there's the ethical aspect of this, which I think they did delve into pretty well, especially with going into the creature's story towards the back half of the movie. So in getting that duality between like we know Victor Frankenstein, and we kind of see like his upbringing and how he gets to be how he is. And again, I think Oscar Isaac pretty much nails it. He does have that very cocky arrogance to him, but he also kind of has this vulnerability once he starts realizing like, oh, I'm probably actually the problem here. And how do you get, not how do you get, but like how do you deal with humanity when you're not something that is, you're something that's inhuman, right, from the monster's perspective. So yeah, I thought it was very well done. Like I said, I would trust. That's what made me trust this movie. That I was like, okay, I don't know if there's a handful of directors that I would pick, but Guillermo del Toro would definitely be one I would trust in the hands of this kind of story.
Yeah, everybody knows that I'm hit or miss with Tim Burton. I'm not a big fan of his. Looking over what Guillermo del Toro did with this and what he's done with other films, he does this dark brooding thing very, very well. So I will go out on a limb and say he is everything that Tim Burton thinks he is, but can't quite achieve because Tim Burton tries too hard in some movies. Because it's not like nobody tries to make a bad movie, but I think sometimes Tim Burton is just full of Tim Burton shit, and the movie comes out goofy. So
yeah, he's got more of like a dark but kind of more whimsical feel. Like Guillermo del Toro actually like leans into the actual just darkness of it. I think it's the difference. Yeah,
I think there's a better definition to del Toro's darkness when that's what he's going for than there. Whereas like Tim Burton, like I said, he tends to take lighter, fluffier stories and makes them too dark. I mean, I'll always criticize the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that he did because that movie's just awful. And like the one scene that I thought he was in a crush at is the one scene that he just kind of overlooked completely. But the whole thing with the boat in the thing, that was the one scene that I was like, I bet you he's gonna nail that scene though. If the rest of this movie sucks, he's gonna nail it, but he didn't. But it's like I'm looking over some of Del Toro's stuff. I mean, Mimic, great movie. cool movie. He did Blade 2, which may be the best out of the entire series, except for maybe Blade 1. He did the 2 good Hellboy movies. Pan's Labyrinth is a good movie. Pacific Rim, I think, is kind of underrated. It's a fun, goofier, weird movie, almost sci-fi, but not quite. But it's a fun movie. I don't think I ever saw Crimson Peak. Shape of Water.
Shape of Water was good.
I'd never got around to seeing that. I heard a lot of good things about it. I just never got around to it. Nightmare Alley, to me, is one of the best movies that came out in 2021. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's a lot like this movie. There's a lot of dark, intense storytelling. And if you like this movie, I think you're gonna like Nightmare Alley. If you get a chance to, if you haven't watched that, I hope you will. And then I haven't seen the Pinocchio that he did a couple of years ago, but then of course he does this version of Frankenstein. I think it's interesting that he took on back-to-back very, very old and very weathered and very done products and in back-to-back projects and did something. I've heard people say good things about Pinocchio. I don't really know a whole lot of people who've seen it. It's looked interesting. But if it's anything like this movie, I mean, it's going to be a treat to watch. I'll definitely give it a watch. But I love the chapter of the way he tells the story. You have the prelude, then you have Victor telling his version of the story, and then you have the monster telling his version of the story, and how it all kind of they're approaching it from different angles, but it's such an interesting way of examining this whole thing in a much deeper context than just lightning strikes, it's alive, and then he wanders around and beats people up and pitchforks and torches and stuff. It was so much more than that. It's such a rich story. I think Del Toro did a great job directing, but mostly a great job writing this thing. I mean, because this was really a labor of love for him. I mean, he wrote, directed, produced, was the head janitor, whatever. In this
all right.
So I gotta go back to where I was at now because wow, I just saw a picture of a young Del Toro, and he looked neckbeard, weird, and funny. But we'll go to that later. but yeah, produced, written, and directed by Del Toro. And I usually get a little worried when somebody starts to wear too many hats on a project. But damn, I mean, he killed it on this one. I can't complain about this at all. It's fantastic. Let's go on now to the cast. And I thought I really didn't label any of my pictures, which is unfortunate. But let's go on out of the cast. The cast of the movie is a knockout cast. What do you think of the cast, and who stood out to you the most?
Yeah, and again, we've said this before, where it's like you get the right people in the right roles. This makes this question a lot harder. Because again, I've said it like right there on screen. Oscar Isaac, I think, I think he's really got it. Like I said, he's kind of moved away from being in just being Poe Dameron in Star Wars, because he's done a couple things since then. It reminds me of the joke from Family Guy, the Star Wars episode where Peter playing Han Solo, he's like, "Hey, I'm Han Solo, Captain of the Millennium Falcon, and the only actor whose career isn't destroyed by this movie." I'm like, damn. I was like, yeah, Harrison Ford did kind of take off. I mean, not that Mark Hamill didn't, but I kind of feel like the same happened for
but not Harrison Ford.
Oscar Isaac. I mean, I'm not comparing Oscar Isaac to Harrison Ford. I'm just saying, like, yeah, at least if somebody of that trilogy who was a main staple, at least he's kind of broken out of that role. And I mean, God, the guy, and again, playing opposite him, the guy playing the creature, it's like, there's something about like not only the way this guy like moves, but the way he speaks and like brings this thing again, that like this thing that is just inhuman and kind of gives it its humanity, was wild. I mean, I was wondering if it was the same guy who played the weird alien hybrid thing from Alien Romulus, but it's not, as I looked up. But still, this dude's like 6'5", so I mean, yeah, he definitely fills the shoes of this like giant monster. And like I said, Christoph Waltz is always a win for me. So I don't know if I need to say anything more than that. Dude's got a hell of an acting range. So for what time he was in the movie until he took a little tumble off the cliff. Unfortunately, spoilers. Sorry. But man, damn, for the time we had him, incredible.
Yeah, this cast is stacked up 6 ways from Sunday. I mean,
Yeah.
let me go through this list again. I mean, first off, you've got Oscar Isaacs, who I agree with you. Don't even bother making the Poe Dameron connection. Say what you want about Moon Knight. He was fucking amazing in Moon Knight. I love the way he played the role.
Yes.
Creatively, Moon Knight struggled in a lot of places. I'm not going to argue that, but I mean, I feel like he is a really, really good actor. Again, watch Ex Machina. That's a movie that I'm going to put on the list for us to do eventually because I think it's a fantastic example of both. There's who's the guy that played the other guy that played in Star Wars? Fucking A. Who played the nerdy redheaded boy? Shit. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But they're both in it, and their acting in that film is phenomenal, and it's an insane story as well. But yes, Jacob Elordi is the one who plays the creature in this.
The creature.
I mean, yeah. I've heard of things that he's been in. I haven't really seen it. I mean, he was in Saltburn. He was in Saltburn, which I haven't seen. He was in Euphoria, which I haven't watched. This Kissing Booth franchise that Netflix has. Yeah. Apparently, he was in that. It's not really something that I'm into. At least not just for the title, anyway.
I don't think we're the target audience for that. No.
But yeah, they've tried to give the Frankenstein's monster character more definition the last 15 or 20 years. They've tried to make movies about him. This is the best I've seen so far. Not just the direction of Del Toro, who's fantastic, but his particular performance in this is mind-bogglingly good. His performance gives it the amazing richness that the character really needed for this particular telling. It's something completely outrageous. And I also let me say, I love the look. Rather than just having the guy with the flat top and the bolts out the neck, I love it. They didn't go with that nonsensical kind of like comic book version of him. If they actually showed you over the course of the movie him piecing this guy together vein by vein, which of course is not exactly possible, but I mean, it's still the way that they approached even the creation of the monster was something that was so much better than anything we've seen in any kind of a Frankenstein incarnation.
A lot of the effects and like the practicality of some of the stuff, that's also what kind of blew me away is not only the look of this monster, but I mean even some of the kills and some of the really gory stuff, especially that scene of him. I think we have it on the thumbnail, like where he's sawing the guy's leg off. It's like some of the more medical scenes where they get up close and get that. It's a little gnarly, but it's like yes, but this is what this is. Like it's this guy literally piecing together a human being. So
that's one of the pictures I've you, Tex. I know you're watching.
For some of these effects, like I said, a lot of the stuff especially that one, like where
that's a killer shot right there. I love that.
Yeah, where he's got the back like filleted open, and when he's still trying to figure out how to get the electrodes through the body and shit. It's kind of cool that it's got, I guess, for all intents purposes, like a somewhat realistic view of like, okay, if I'm gonna like if I'm gonna construct, I need to deconstruct a human, essentially. So, a lot of that stuff was really cool to see. So again, it all added to the tone of this movie. It's some gut wrenching shit sometimes.
Yeah, and when it comes to the cast, let's not overlook for a moment how good Mia Goth is in this.
Oh, Mia Goth.
I know that now she doesn't have a great deal of screen time. A lot of her screen time kind of bookends the movie. But man, but she's in plenty of the movie. Don't get me wrong. But when she's on screen, it's like it's so easy for someone like Mia Goth, as you're looking at as a fan from a fan's perspective like ours, just to know her as the horror queen. She's been in X and all this other stuff, but so you kind of you forget how good of an actor or actress somebody is when they kind of get pigeonholed into one genre. But she plays this role very, very well. I could see her really branching out and doing a lot of different stuff, just having watched her in this. Because while this has horror elements to it, it's not at all a horror movie. It's definitely a much more of a dramatic piece than anything else. And I thought that the way she delivered dialogue, her screen presence, everything was top notch. She was fantastic. So I really hope that it doesn't go overlooked, her performance here, because she's known as Pearl, because of all the horror stuff that she does, because she really was great. And then of course Christoph Waltz, fantastic. I mean, fucking Galactus is even in this in the beginning of the movie, which is kind of cool. He was the one guy that in the beginning that ends up kicking him out of the medical college.
Okay.
Ralph Innes is his name. He's the one that played Galactus in Fantastic Four. But
well, shit, and even the blind old man is the guy who played Argus Filch in the Potter movies, the caretaker with the cat.
But more important than that, in his best role, don't forget, he was the farmer with the guns in Hot Fuzz.
I was like, Andy, I'm sorry, sir. Where did you acquire all these guns? Found him. He said he found them.
I suppose.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose.
That's. I'm always going to remember him more for that than anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, that's
that scene is so damn funny. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the cast from top to bottom on this, and even Christoph Waltz, for not getting a great deal of screen time, he's very much a supporting character in this, is so good. And when you get to that point in the movie where you find out that he's got this illness, and part of the reason why he was helping Victor Frankenstein do his thing, because he was hoping to benefit from himself. It's like that scene was really tense. It was really awesome. And the conversation between the two as everything started to come together for the whole lightning strike that creates the Frankenstein monster. It was just so damn good. I can't knock any of the cast of this movie at all. Now, let's talk about the plot for just a second. I mean, Frankenstein, they're bringing him to life, so on.
Nice.
The plot itself is, you've heard the story 100 times, but again, it's all in the delivery. What do you think of the plot of the film? There were some different elements thrown in here from what we've seen before. What do you think of the plot of the film, and was there anything about it that you would have changed?
Yeah, I mean, it's the story that, you know, we do know, and as much as I was really hoping he would, is kind of goofy as it is, I'm like, I really hope like it comes alive. He's like, it's alive. Like, you know, he kind of had that madness to him where I really could have believed he could sell that line without it being still like too goofy. But I mean, he didn't do it, which it's fine. I didn't need it.
Yeah, I didn't need the line, but it would have been a nice little, I don't even want to say an Easter egg.
Nod.
We're so used to hearing it now. Even if he just whispered to himself for a moment, it's alive. Just like that one line. It's like hearing Arnie say, I'll be back in just about every movie that he's in. You're kind of, you know.
Well, I think, I mean, because they kind of subvert your expectation, like when it first happens, and it actually like doesn't really work, and you know he's frustrated by the failure of it not working, and then it's like he just kind of wakes up, and then the monster just standing over his bed. It's like, oh, holy shit, hello. He kind of right there. He could have whispered like, "Oh my god, it's alive!" Like that's, you know, like that could have been the shock of that moment, but no cigar. But yeah, like I said, we've seen this story before, but I do like that, again, we've talked about it, that they expand around this framing device that we have, like where we have basically the end of the story of, you know, Victor Frankenstein like being pursued by the monster, and he's on this ship with all these Danish explorers going to the North Pole, and the monster basically kind of coming out of nowhere, and they sink him in the ice for a second. It gives Victor a chance to, you know, explain to them like what's going on and who he is and what's going on. And like I said, so that there's more expansion on the story. Again, this framing device of like, now this monster is still coming after him, and now we see how we got to that point and why. But again, I do like that, you know, as you're seeing from Victor's point of view, like that he's, the only word he knows how to say is Victor. It's like that's the only thing he really taught him. Because as Mia Goth points out, she's like, maybe because that was the most important thing to him, like, you know, was you. And then expand it, because then I'm like, well, wait, how is this guy so eloquent? Like, how does the monster, rather, like, how does he speak with enough, you know, nuance and intelligence to kind of understand what's going on? And then you see that where he kind of just as a silent guardian, I think what do you call him, the guardian of the forest? He hides in this like mill house and like helps this family out, just kind of without being seen, gives them firewood, make sure, you know, wolves don't attack their livestock, things like that. And he learns how to read because the granddaughter's learning from the grandfather how to read and all this other jazz. And then it culminates in this kind of beautiful moment of like, again, spoilers, but Victor's on his way out on death's doorstep, and they have this moment of like, you know, he just forgives him for, you know, even after all that anger of finding out like, look, I'm not like a real, human being, and he's like, and I can't die. He's kind of got like this Wolverine like healing factor. Well, no matter how many times he gets shot, set on fire, blown up. I mean, he holds a stick of dynamite and it blows up, and he does not die. So he's got this frustrating existence that, like, he's like, either you could try to like do something about this, or give me a companion. Which I was kind of thinking, like, is that the Bride of Frankenstein? Are we making a joke here? Why is Mia Goth in a wedding dress? Are we not doing it? Oh, okay, cool. Kind of maybe a nod to that, but then he just kind of forgives him, like, in the end, and lets Victor Frankenstein just kind of dies in peace, I guess. But I don't know if there's anything I would really change, because, like I said, it really expanded on just the basic idea of the story that we do know of. So, it's a long movie, but I mean, it was definitely worth the runtime, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it was a bit long. But once I got done watching the movie, I was like, wow, they filled the movie up really well. I mean,
yes.
For me, the plot, again, I mean, it's Frankenstein's monster. It's a bit of it's just kind of a rehash, but it's really how you tell the story. I love the fact that, again, that they gave the monster, the creation, a personality all of his own. He, like I said, he was
sympathetic.
Yeah, he developed a character, and that's something they haven't done a lot. Now, I've not watched everything Frankenstein that's ever been made. I've not read every book. I've watched a few Frankenstein movies, the bigger ones that have come out over the years. That's my exposure. So if there's something I'm missing in one of these works that has talked about the creature, then forgive me. But I like the fact that they actually gave him character growth instead of just posing the question of who creating life, playing God, so on and so on, which those themes are prevalent in this movie, to be sure, but they're not what drive the movie. What drive the film is a lot of very personal stuff. You see in the first half of the film when Victor's giving his take on things, his upbringing, how fucked up it was, his dad being kind of cold and distant, the death of his mother, loving his brother obviously more than he loves Victor, so on, so on. And then you get the contrast of the creature's life, where he is created, he doesn't know anything. He himself was essentially, by our standards anyway, abused by Victor in every way. I mean, chained up downstairs in the basement and whatever. Then eventually Victor tries to kill him, which probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world. But and then him trying to redefine, or not even redefine, just give himself any definition at all. Once he gets out of that, he survives the explosion that Victor Frankenstein sets to wipe out all of his work, and then ends up kind of living his own life and kind of getting his own shit together and becoming his own man on a much more accelerated track than most human beings do. I love everything about the plot except for one thing. I don't understand why. And again, I've not read every bit of Frankenstein work that has ever been written or produced for television or movies. Why make him like Wolverine? I've never ever heard that before. Because
that was new, yeah.
I was kind of like, I get him being powerful, stronger than most men. That's kind of a basic trope of the Frankenstein's monster character. But I mean, him having like healing factor and all that, I was like, I don't really. Why the Wolverine powers? It seemed odd to me.
I mean, he's already dead. I don't know. That was interesting. I get maybe that is to fuel that frustration.
But that's the thing, is he's not. That's the thing, is he's not. He was brought back to life using the pieces of other human beings. So I'm like, if he's
kind of a zombie.
If he get well, but I mean, the whole idea medically, and I don't know how. Obviously, medically, this is all pretty far fetched to even try to do it at all.
Yeah,
but
that's the point.
But the idea medically that they put it out in the movie is that all you have to do is put some electrical charge to this certain part of the lymphatic system, and that will hold the charge and power the rest of the body. So you put the body together, charge that one little spot, and then it will constantly send energy out. Now, is that how they explain without explaining that he can heal when he gets shot very quickly?
Weird mutation or something.
And how does this affect his brain? Because he got shot in the head like 3 times over the course of this movie. It's like the brain still runs things. I don't care how tough you are or whatever. You take one to the dome, and that's usually pretty much it, with the rare exception. So I didn't really understand why they made him into like Wolverine. That was very weird. I mean,
I
because
guess,
it didn't
I guess
really.
it just
You could have just not done the dynamite scene, and I would have assumed that he could survive the gunshot wounds and all this, except for the one that he takes to the skull, which I was like, okay, whatever. I'll suspend my disbelief for that one if that's the only one you're going to give me. But then he holds that stick of dynamite to his chest and it blows up, and I'm like, okay, was that a firecracker or was that real dynamite? Because I feel like a real piece of dynamite would have done the job. But I also don't understand the imagery of making him kind of like weird Iron Man right here.
he's kind of praising the sun.
Well,
for all my gamers out there.
Because I was watching this, and I was like, it's a weird Iron Man look. So I felt like that little chess piece thing of his was going to come back into play, but I don't understand why it's not really in the rest of the movie. I don't really know what it was for, because I expected that maybe to be like his one weakness, but I guess not, because after this point, you never
battery or something.
So I really don't know. But anyway,
unless externally that was just for him, like for Victor to know that it actually did charge the body up and it actually worked. Because I don't know how else he would have seen it, because it's like inside of like between his shoulder blades or some shit. That's like that was the point of that he was trying to get to. I don't know if that was just for visual confirmation to see that it worked. Like I said, I kind of he even did when he got like attacked by those hunters, and like he got shot a couple times and he laid there for a while, and he said like, I don't know how long I died. I'm like, I think he apparently technically did die. I mean, he can sustain quite a bit of damage, and I guess he technically died again, but still came back. And I'm like, I guess that would be the frustration of that driving force, that he's like, well, I don't even know what I am, and I'm not like a real thing, and I can't even die. He's like, I couldn't even die if I wanted to. So like that's gotta be a frustrating existence anyway. That's why I've always said, I'm like, immortality would actually suck. Honestly, it actually would, because why would you want to live for that long and like you never end up dying? Because it's kind of an essential part of life, which again is kind of the theme of this, this movie. Like you're gonna sit here and play God, and death should be the final thing, right? But you take a few steps past that, now all of a sudden you have someone coming back to life. And I do like that they pointed out that, where he said he had like dreams, but he had like dreams of like the other people, where he's like, I have dreams from like several different men of like the one that I'm pieced together by. So I mean, again, that's also gotta be frustrating, because like you don't have your own like actual memories really. Or I mean, I guess he made memories with like the old man, which that's gut wrenching. Like I said, it's like, I know we're supposed to like, now we're sympathizing with the monster after having just seen Victor's whole story. It's like, damn, dude, that shit was rough.
Yeah. Also, I mean,
like that.
Also, again, I'm suspending a lot of disbelief just for the fact that he can build something like Frankenstein's monster, but that brain, I'm guessing, already had memories in it. I mean, because he got these pieces of human beings from battlefields, and I'm guessing the brain, unless he had one on a shelf,
remnants.
Unless he had one on a shelf called Abby Normal, for those of you who get that reference. We may have to do that movie now, to be honest. Yeah. A little bit of Young Frankenstein. We'll do a
that's one for the kids, huh?
We'll do a good Gene Wilder appreciation stream or something like that. But
God, yes,
plenty of movies we could pull off of. But like, he talks about having the memories of all these people from the different body parts. I'm like, but you've got someone's brain. You don't have any memories of like who you were, because it seemed like when he first lights him up and he starts working that he's just kind of a newborn. He can't speak. He can't do anything. Did you really just Control Alt Delete and do a hard reset of that guy's whole brain? I'm suspending a lot of disbelief, because just trying it in the first place is so outlandish. But at the same time, those are the things that my brain turns to. It's like he would already have memories in him, so whatever.
I guess.
But
I don't know.
Let's take a minute and talk about. I mean, we have to talk about some of the effects. I mean,
yes,
the makeup in this, everything about this movie visually is pretty stunning. Was there one image or scene that jumped out to you as far as the special effects and the job they did in the film?
See, like I said, I do kind of like the montage, like I said, of him making the monster because that's I mean, again, that's your that's the meat on the bones, that's the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. And even just this, like we said, like this visual style of the monster, it's like we know that Boris Karloff with his flat top and his green skin, bolts in the neck, but I mean, for as realistic as I guess this could be, right? This is kind of a cool. Yeah, I was hoping you had one of like the Battlefield where I'm like, yeah, you're sifting through like bodies like recently, well, maybe not recently, but somewhat recently killed in a battlefield. Trying to go through and pick out, going shopping for the best ones, I guess.
That's just a cool shot right there. I mean, there you go, Tex. There's a good one for you, chopping off a limb.
Again, if there's like a shot of this movie, like that's I mean, that's kind of it. Yeah, some of it's gnarly. Like I said, that scene was kind of my favorite because again, it does that thing where like it gets real close up in the action and into some of the suturing it together. And I love that you even got the in-betweens of him like trying to clean up the floor and like try to dump stuff out and take stuff into the basement. Doing this whole crazy thing by himself, essentially. Being funded by Christoph Waltz. I don't know, like there's some stuff that's CG like the wolves and shit like that, but I don't mind it because again, some of the practical stuff kind of outweighs it. I know you can't. I think one of the craziest was like when I think he basically like just not even like scalped, but like skinned this fucking wolf. Like just grabbed it and ripped its skin off.
That was wild. I was like, Jesus.
That's like
brutal shit.
I was like, damn, dude. I mean, that's fair. Like I said,
the one that he hugged in half.
That's what I was thinking, like where he hugs it and snaps it in half. I was like, yeah, okay. Jesus, man. Yeah. And some of the actually, one effect that I'm like, I don't you and I are both gun guys, and he's like, get the blunderbuss, and he pulls out this like fucking 4-barreled like whatever the fuck contraption. I'm like, I don't know if that's even a blunderbuss. I'm like, it's not even really even a duck foot, if you know what that is. It's like, what is that gun? I'm like, he shoots a barrel, rotates it, shoots next barrel, rotates it. There's like 4 of them. I was like, I don't even know what that is, but that thing is cool. If I was in 1857, I'd want one too.
Oh, I'd roll with one of those by far.
Yeah, there's a couple times where I'm like, why aren't you guys going out there with guns? Jesus Christ! At least I love that. Even like when he gives it to the captain, where he's like, I got 1 shot left, and he's like, I can't even kill it. He's like, oh, I know. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you'd do, but I mean, I'd rather have it. And I was like, oh, I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna shoot the ice, and down he goes like Jason Voorhees. Yeah, that's some of the stuff was again, it was very well done, and I liked it. I liked the look and the tone. It didn't really, it fit with the movie, honestly.
Yeah, the character design for Frankenstein's monster, for the creature, was phenomenal. I mean, I can't say he does have a bit of a Prometheus look in here. If you've seen the Prometheus,
all I kept seeing was Prometheus at first. I was like, yeah,
which is ironic because that's like part of the name of the original book that she wrote, or was the Modern Prometheus. But I love the design of the creature. I love the special effects. Like this shot is like really cool, but what you don't see is like what happens like 2 seconds later. He saws like most of the way through the skin, and then just kind of like tears it and twists it and rips it off the last.
Yeah.
Like he didn't give a shit about this person at all. But he was so single-mindedly into what he was doing. But I mean, again, the creature design, the special effects. I've got a little bit of trivia about how Del Toro approached some of the set design here in a minute, and the way he approaches just the look of all this stuff is phenomenal. I mean, even shots like this, even shots like this were so fantastic. But I cannot praise his character design on this enough. It's really really good. And again,
weirdly, the hair even was actually kind of cool. I liked the hair grew out and he had this not mangy look to him, but like still just had this kind of rugged look, and with the jacket and the hood and shit like that. Like I think that was part of the beginning was like what we see in the trailer, and I was like that kind of gave me chills. Like when he comes onto that boat and you don't really see him, he's just kind of hooded, this big figure, and you see him point and he says like Victor. I'm like, I was like, oh Jesus Christ, that's terrifying. And I was like, oh shit, this is like some vengeful monster. I'm like coming after the creator, you know. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, Dr. Nick said,
did you notice that like his eyes even his eyes even kind of had that like Blade Runner kind of shit, like where it had this like reflection in his like pupils.
I saw that there was one scene where it looked like his left eye had a bit of a yellow glow to it, where his other eye didn't. I don't know if that was supposed to be reflecting like a fire on the other side, across from him, or if that was just something that just kind of happened. I'll have to go back and watch that part of the film again to see exactly why that is. But it did look like he ended up with two different colored eyes at one point. And I wondered if that was just lighting or if that was intended to show some kind of a change in him. But
that there is a soul in him.
Yeah. Let's see. Dr. Nick says that Casey sticks Frankenstein's monster up his bum.
And does the monster mash.
Yeah, of course he does. Let's see. Tech says The Bride in 2026 is the Frankenstein movie he's waiting for. Maggie Gyllenhaal directed, starring Christian Bale as the monster. It's a basic natural born killers with Frank's monster and The Bride. I don't know, the way you describe it sounds like a horror comedy, but I'll watch it when it comes out. I mean,
it looks interesting.
I like Maggie Gyllenhaal. I like Christian Bale. I'll give it a watch when it comes out.
I mean, you're telling me Christian Bale is the monster, so I'm like, okay, I can get down with that. So,
Tex also says he's still pissed that Warner Brothers didn't go through with Del Toro's Justice League Dark. Didn't they do like an animated thing anyway? I'm pretty sure I saw that on HBO not so long ago. If not something named Justice League Dark, certainly something like it. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to go back and look. But let's go ahead and get into a little bit of trivia now. But again, I mean, the set design and the special effects were fantastic. I say that with perfect timing because the first piece of trivia I have is about Del Toro. Yeah, good segue. It's about Del Toro. He said Frankenstein's laboratory and Captain Anderson's ship were fully constructed sets. I want real sets, director Del Toro explained. I don't want digital. I don't want AI. I don't want simulation. I want old-fashioned craftsmanship, people painting, building, hammering, and plastering, because that is always the best way to put a world together.
Yes.
I would love to walk around the set. I saw some set pictures when I was trying to find some.
The ship was cool.
It looked amazing. Even though it was constructed on a movie set in Southern California somewhere, it was obviously not in the Arctic. But I mean, the set alone looked amazing. I would love to have walked around that thing and just kind of been in that space for a moment.
I appreciate when directors do that, and I love that. Like, I love that was a real thing. Like I said, there is CG in this movie, but it's not like in sets like this, which is really cool because like it makes it look, more believable and lived like that. I was gonna say lived in. Like that looks like it's been there for 1,000 years. Just they're chilling in this like moss ridden tower that he does this work in. I can always appreciate when people do. That's kind of it. It's art, and I appreciate that like people actually do this kind of thing because I hate that it's kind of lost to stuff like that. I know it's nice to be able to computer generate a world. Like if you say Avatar, like for whatever it's worth, I don't like them, but I'm like, you can't deny the world building and the visuals of Avatar are really cool. I'm like, but it doesn't exist. I mean, it's a fake thing, right? But there are some things that do deserve it. It's worth actually building a set and making a world, to feel like you're actually there.
Yeah, I can't knock any of the, like I said, the visuals in this movie are pretty stunning. I mean, even if the movie sucked, it would be a beautiful movie to watch.
God, yes.
I mean, just turn the sound off and experience where this world.
I don't know if you have the shot, but there was this real, again, I like simplicity, but I love this shot of like, I don't remember where it's at, where they're looking out and it's just, the ice, there's the horizon, the sun's like just right there. And then there's this figure of the monster just standing there in a silhouette. And I was like,
I could
cool.
not find that.
because that was such a cool shot. I'm like, it's just so
it,
simple.
Yeah, I know what shot you're talking about because that is that and the final shot where he's walking off into the sunrise.
Yes,
kind of
with the tear down his cheek. Yeah,
it harkens back to when early in the film after he'd been created, Victor Frankenstein was telling him to like reach out and feel the sun and shit like that.
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, some really cool images. Yeah, real quick search. I can't find that shot, but I got a picture. I got a picture of Del Toro. Got a picture of Del Toro standing there in the snow, but no, not the same picture. It won't have the same effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in here, but hopefully we'll be able to get that shot eventually. But yeah, this is some pretty amazing visuals. Next piece of trivia I got is I click on the wrong stuff. Let's see. While living with the blind man, I'll use this picture because I haven't used it yet. While living with the blind man, the creation reads Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley, who was the husband of Frankenstein author Mary Shelley.
Hey.
Easter eggs.
Yeah, full circle. I gotta say, those coffins were actually really kind of cool. Like these weird, like encased things, and you put like the face plate like over top of it. That was actually kind of cool.
I'd have to go back and look and see if that was actually something that they did back then, or if it was just some creation for this film. Either way, you're right. It's pretty good. It's pretty wild coffin.
It's stunning visual. Yeah.
I watch a lot of this channel called Hollywood Graveyard. I don't know if you ever watched it or not. This guy just basically goes around to different graveyards and he finds out where famous people are buried.
Oh yeah.
And he'll get a little video of their gravesite and he'll do like a couple minutes on like a little bio of who they were, why they were important, stuff like that. And he's come across some really wild graves from people all over the world that are not just like graves, but they're like specially done up for certain people.
Oh yeah.
There's some pretty wild artistic works for how some people have been buried over the years. But yeah, that's right up there with some really cool shit. But the next piece of trivia I got is, let's go back to Guillermo del Toro. I really didn't label these pictures. I really should have. Let's see. Not that. This one right here. I was in a hurry. I forgot to. Anyway, Del Toro decided to follow up his version of Pinocchio with the Frankenstein story with this film, as he had always viewed both stories as two sides of the same conceptual coin.
He's a real boy now. Yeah, it's similar.
It's all about some kind of weird life being created that you have to figure out. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing.
No, Pinocchio doesn't kill people, at least not in the main story, at least as far as I know. I don't know. Unless you're making one of those movies like Pooh, Blood, and Honey, where Pinocchio's going to start wagging.
It's like you probably could. You probably could.
Which I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did. I think that's part of the Pooniverse. I just haven't seen it yet.
It probably fucking is. I don't know.
Let's see. I had mentioned this a little bit earlier. Let's see. The film is the second time that Oscar Isaac portrays an ambitious mad scientist who played God by creating something dangerous. The first film was Ex Machina, which came out in 2014.
There you go.
Same thing. Like I remember we did the review for Companion. I said I always thought it was kind of a spiritual sequel to Ex Machina, because that if that all would have worked, what he was doing in Ex Machina, that's the next logical step would have been what we would have gotten with Companion, having the AI robotic, love buddies.
Just one way to put it, yeah.
That's the best way I can put it without being overly gross. Let's see. The only real bit of strange casting news I found about this was that let's see. Let me go to a good picture of the monster here. Did I click on it? Nope, clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. Let's see. Andrew Garfield was actually originally cast to play the monster, but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts in another film. He was replaced by Jacob Elordi in the role. The makeup team spent 9 months crafting Garfield's look as the monster, but had only a few weeks to rework it for Elordi in time for filming the original parts, the first parts of the movie.
Damn. Well, good job.
I'm kind of glad it didn't work out, because Jacob Elordi is awfully tall, and Andrew Garfield, while not short,
he's kind of
tall.
Not that tall, yeah.
So I think that Jacob Elordi actually played into the physicality of the role a little bit better. Not that Andrew Garfield would have been good, I always kind of envision when I hear Frankenstein's monster or just Frankenstein, I always envision somebody who's 6.5 feet tall
Like
at least,
7 foot fucking tall. Yeah.
taller than most people, even with the boots on that they put him in occasionally, and
Yeah.
somebody who's got a stature that dwarfs the average man. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of glad he was getting the person who was taller, but it would have been interesting to see Andrew Garfield in the role.
Yeah, but I mean, just this guy, like I said, with his mannerisms and the way he just kind of portrayed like a newborn deer, kind of coming into his land legs. You know, it's like this man. This guy brought this thing to life. I mean, like literally. So I think he fucking knocked it out of the park. It's I think it's a good mark for him because, like I said, I think he's on the up with some crazy shit like this. So well done.
Yeah, this little piece of trivia it shocked me a little bit because I don't think it would have worked out as well. I'll use the picture because I haven't used it yet. Guillermo del Toro actually considered at one point making the film into a trilogy, potentially making each part focused on one of the three main characters: Victor Frankenstein, the monster, and Captain Robert Walton. I don't know if that would have worked out very well. It would have been interesting.
No.
I could have watched it. I could have probably enjoyed it because I enjoyed this movie after all. But I don't know if breaking it down into a trilogy, even if you'd have not made them each 2.5 hours long or whatever this movie was, I don't know that would have gotten the same effect. I think it was much tighter, a much better overall story by doing it in one longer film.
I think condensed down enough like this, at least 2.5 hours worth. But I think you still managed to tell both of these stories well enough, right? Like, it's crazy to still, you get the sympathetic angle of Victor Frankenstein seeing his upbringing and then, why he is the way he is. And then completely, because you have the framing device of like the monster being this relentless thing coming after the ship crew and coming after Victor himself. And then you get it to turn around and realize like, yeah, but there's a reason why he's doing this. And it's like, you can kind of be like, yeah, well, good for him, fair play to the monster because Jesus, man, that's a frustrating couple, I think like what, maybe like 2 years or so that he spent on his own or something. So good Lord.
Probably one of the reasons why he kind of goes mad himself.
Yeah, again, that would drive you fucking nuts. Yeah.
But let's see, I do have one more piece of trivia. Let me go back to a good view of the monster for this, one of my favorite shots in the film. Let's see, as the film progresses, the creature begins to walk more upright like a man, while Victor becomes more stooped over like a beast, reflecting the theme of who is the real monster in the story.
Very true.
I think
he doesn't even say it.
Yeah, I think the basic gist I get from it is what's kind of obvious if you pay attention to the world. Mankind is a monster in some way, shape, or form.
We're not meant to do things like this.
Most of the time, inadvertently, but sometimes overtly, mankind does things that are dumb. I mean, oftentimes we don't know we're doing dumb, but sometimes we know we're doing dumb. Some certain people. I think that's part of the human condition. There's always going to be the people who want to do good and the people who want to not necessarily do evil, but just don't give a shit what they do because it benefits them. Those are
I do like the
monsters of some level or another.
I do like that he even says like, he feels like he even went too far because he's like I was so single-mindedly focused on doing this thing, and now that I did it, I was like, oh well, like what do I do? Like, do I keep him chained up? Do I like feed him? He's like, oh, I didn't even think about like what I'm supposed to do after this. Like, what does this even entail? How does he learn? How does any of this work? Like, because this is all now new ground that he's treading. So, and I think he kind of realizes he does go a little too far. In the end, he's like, and I can't really take it back, unfortunately. So that is kind of like in that power struggle between him and the monster, where he's telling him like, you're the one who's can fix this. And he's kind of like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know this was gonna work, to be fair. So he's like I guess in essence the science is there, but he's like, I didn't think this was gonna happen.
Yeah, because even when he's having that conversation with Christoph Waltz's character, and the truth comes out about what Christoph Waltz's intentions and what his motivations were, he even tries to tell me, he's like, dude, I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 15 minutes. He's like, you
I don't even know this is gonna work, dude. Yeah,
not misled me, but but a lie of omission is a lie nonetheless, they say. So you omitted a certain piece of important information that you wanted
to
me
be
to
fair,
do.
he
this
put
to
that
save
on.
you.
He put that on Frankenstein. I was like, that's not really fair to him, man, because he didn't know that you had this ulterior motive to it. So
it was also like the worst time, like as he's getting ready to screw everything together to actually try to bring the monster to
it's
life.
actively thunderstorming right now, dude.
Yeah.
Like, really?
It's like you couldn't have waited until it worked and be like, okay, hey, so now that this works, maybe.
Because he says, like, wait, not now, because I don't know if this works, and if it does, I can help you. He's like, well, there's no time. It's like, well, you didn't give him time because now you want to tell him that. So I'm like, that's kind of on you. I mean, I'm sorry, Christoph Waltz, but that one's on your character for picking the worst time to tell him that. Yeah, and it is a fair point that he says, like, he's like, you already have a disease. Like, he's like, everything about you is like, it's like, I can't control that. Like, you have variables with this disease you have that I can't, just put into this thing. And that, I think even Rachel said it. She's like, what part of him did he think he was going to be put into? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I know he wants this like new life, but I was like, was he going to be like the head, the brain, or the heart, something, I'm like, I don't know what he expected, to have him do. So
yeah, it was odd motivation on his part, especially with so much that was still unknown. But whatever. I mean, he got his in the end anyway. Also, that's a pretty wild death too, by the way, falling in that hole and then landing just flat out.
A long drop and a sudden stop. That ground will hit you pretty hard.
Yeah, deceleration trauma.
That was also kind of a gnarly effect, like with the back of his skull was just busted open, like because he hit the ground so hard. I was like, Jesus, ow.
Yeah, there was definitely some good cinematography. I didn't even get a chance to use this picture, which I think is pretty significant.
Oh,
about what drives Victor
angel.
through all this.
Yeah, that angel. Yeah, that was cool.
Overall, just a fantastic movie. I thought it was very, very good. We'll go ahead and start to wrap things up there. And me and Jeremy, neither one of us really wanted to go too long tonight. But give me your final thoughts on Frankenstein, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here.
Yeah, like I said, but it's a long watch, but I mean it'll draw you in, and it's a pretty intriguing watch. We unfortunately had some stops here and there. We had people calling us and stuff like that because like the anniversary's coming up or whatever. People want to make plans or something in my birthday, whatever. But no, it still kept us pretty drawn in and intrigued throughout. So definitely worth a watch. Like I said, it's on Netflix. And we always say, like, don't ever just read like a review and say like, oh, this is pretty bad. It's like, just watch a movie for yourself. You might find out you like it. And if not anything that we've said in the last hour, it's like I think it's worth a watch. It's again very cool effects. It's a cool story and a cool expansion on the story that we all kind of know because it's very, very much ingrained into pop culture. Because again, to be able to have a staying power of at least almost 100 years now, I mean, you're doing something right. So, yeah, definitely check this one out.
Yeah, I agree. It's well worth the watch. Again, a little long, but it's not one of those movies that there's not really a part where it drags. There's a lot of really dense storytelling in this. I really like the way they broke up into kind of two different sections. Like you have the prelude where they get him on the ship and all that. And one thing we didn't mention, that like fight scene in the beginning of the movie where he's just wrecking shop with all those sailors.
Oh, God,
I was like, damn. I mean, some of the visuals on that where he's just like one guy like rips his jaw open, like rips it off his skull. Another guy, he like twists his arm and you see it get all fucking weird. And then he just uses it to throw him away. He throws off of the boat into a fire. I was like, damn.
Well, also, like, let's not forget, we've said it, like, he's incredibly strong. Like, we had a picture of that boat. He pushed that boat with his bare hands. That whole fucking boat, he just rocks with his whole hands. I'm like, Jesus shit. You see, yeah, his raw power in this opening scene, which, again, he should be terrifying, yes. But, again, you get the sympathetic side much later. So cool duality.
Yeah, he was capsizing that boat all by his damn self. So
Yeah, he was.
If you're a NFL team out there that needs some offensive line help, that's your guy. he's a little tall, and he probably won't look good in the post-game press conference. But yeah, you need somebody to throw around a couple of defensive linemen. You do well to sign him. But yeah, I agree. This movie's fantastic. Again, it's on Netflix. Again, it's a long watch, but I think it's worth it. It's not one of those movies that drags on way too much. It's actually pretty well paced. I mean, there's the action in the beginning, then there's real deep storytelling. There's a lot of like go and some slow down character work. There's a lot of very different situations that you find yourself in this movie, not just the creation of the monster, which is kind of like just part of it. It's all the stuff that happens after that. It's his growth with that family off in the woods, Victor slowly losing his mind and becoming the real monster. It was all great storytelling by Del Toro, great acting. Again, the visuals are fantastic. The cinematography here is stunning. I wouldn't be surprised at all here in the 3 or 4 months when the Oscars come around if this doesn't win a couple of statues or two, because it's really good at a lot of different levels. So go watch it on Netflix. Again, it's about 2 hours and 35 minutes long, I think is what it said. But that's
about 2.5, yeah.
But I think it's well worth a watch. If you have a few hours to sit and watch a movie, it's not just the usual Frankenstein stuff. It's a much different way of telling the story. It's a much different angle. And I think that if you're a fan of the Frankenstein's monster or just movies like this in general, you're going to be pretty impressed. But thanks to my hetero life mate Jeremy for coming and being awesome as usual. Where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I'm here Tuesday, Thursday. And I'm very excited because this coming Thursday is, in fact, my favorite movie of all time, Ready Player One. So, as I told Frank, I will try to refrain from putting every frame of the movie into our picture gallery, because there's plenty of Easter eggs and plenty of things to be found in this this video game world. Yeah, I'm very excited about this one because it's this movie blew me away when I saw it, because I'm like, you ever want to know what like the inside of my brain probably looks like? It probably looks like this world.
Probably. Yeah.
That's probably a good accurate representation of what the inside of my head looks like most of the time. So yeah, we'll be back here doing Ready Player One on Thursday. I might actually have a guest join me, one of my good friends who actually read the book. So maybe some contrast, because I own the books, but I have not read them because, I'm not a nerd. I'm kidding. I might read them eventually just to kind of see the differences, because there are some differences, of course, between book and film. But that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, as Jeremy said, we're going to be back here on Thursday to do Ready Player one that I've kind of had in the hopper for a while. I knew that Jeremy was going to eat that one up, much like Tex would eat up something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Halloween. I knew this was going to be right up Jeremy's wheelhouse. So that's going to be... Yes. So Jeremy running the show on Thursday. We'll be here then to review Ready Player One. I'm looking forward to that one. I think it's a lot of fun. I love that movie as well. All the great 80s references. You have Kid, you have the Ghostbusters car, all that stuff.
Back to the Future, everything.
We will see you back here on Thursday. Till then, adios. I mean, the whole movie's like one gigantic Easter egg.
It is. I was like, insert your Rumble packs now, gamers. It's kind of a Willy Wonka story. I mean, you kind of, but with video games.
True. I long for the days of that are coming with the Neuralink, so we can all just kind of live in that world.
You know what? Actually, next month in the timeline of the movies is when we get the Oasis, so it could be possible. Who knows?
Maybe. Get on it, Elon. Goodbye.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.